by reading 2 Corinthians 10, 4 and 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. Very, very important verse for all Christians at all time and everywhere.
For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses. We are destroying speculations and every lofty thing raised up against the knowledge of God. And we are taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ.
Yes, two things mainly. We are destroying what are we? We are destroying every stronghold of Satan. Yes, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 4 and 5. Very important verses. We are supposed to be doing two things consistently. I don't know whether we are doing it, but we are supposed to be doing it. What are they? We are supposed to be demolishing something and taking them captive. We are supposed to be defending something. What are they? Did you pay attention when it was read? Yes. It says that casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. That's one thing we have to do. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Any system of knowledge that comes up against God, the knowledge of God, we have to cast them down. We have to demolish them. Pulling them down, verse 4 says. Pulling them down. The strongholds of Satan, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. Anything that speaks against theism properly, we need to pull them down. And then what? And then says, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Every thought means every discipline. That's what it means. Every discipline. Botany and zoology and history and archaeology and engineering and medicine and every thought, every branch of knowledge has to be brought to under the knowledge of Jesus Christ. Are we doing it? Or you are just learning something in engineering and biology and maths and all, or you are bringing maths to the knowledge of Jesus Christ. That's a Christian's job, Paul said. We have a big bulldozer. They're pulling down every thought that rises itself against the knowledge of Christ. And every branch of education, every branch of knowledge must be brought under the subjection of the knowledge of Jesus Christ. This is not an ordinary job, This is not an ordinary job. This is a big job. So we just go somewhere and study something, and keep quiet. No. No. And the interesting thing is, nations and men get together to cut asunder every restraint Christ has placed upon man. That's Psalm 2 says, right? What are the nations the heathen do? They are saying, they're taking counsel together saying, come on, let's go and cut asunder. So it's a big warfare, that's what I'm saying. It's a big warfare, not a small warfare. What is this, in the past, how many isms came against Christian worldview? Nazism and fascism and communism, socialism, atheism, agnosticism. All these things, they came against the knowledge of Christ. We are here today because there were some godly men who gave their life in fighting against these unchristian and anti-Christian, systems of knowledge. Today, the whole America, Bible is taken out. Prayer is taken out. Instead, they are teaching about yogas everywhere, Every child in America is today saying Om instead of saying Jesus. See, when we keep silence, we mean the Christians keep silence, It's like when the farmer sleeps, the weeds will grow. And didn't Jesus say this parable? When they were sleeping, the enemy came and he has done an excellent job from his perspective. He said, I have done it. I have sown the weeds everywhere. This is happening everywhere. This is happening everywhere. Alexander Solzhenitsyn said correctly, men have forgotten God. Men have forgotten God. Paul exhorts Christians to build up their faith rooted and strengthened in Christ Jesus. Colossians 2, 6 and 7. Rooted. For any good plant, there will be an equal and opposite growth. As the trunk part grows up, there will be an equal and opposite growth of the root system. The strength of a tree is not measured by how tall the trunk is, but how deep the root is. That's exactly true about Christians. That's exactly true about Christians. Paul warned Christians to make sure that no one take them captive by vain philosophy and deceit. In Colossians 2:8 he said it. Paul was a man who practiced exactly what he preached. Paul's message on the Mars Hill, at the Areopagus at the University of Athens, the Senate Hall, he condemned all pagan worldviews. All pagan worldviews. Acts chapter 17, verses 18, 24, 31, you can just look at them. Paul shredded the vain Greek philosophy into pieces like a shredding machine will shred papers. And he has shredded atheism and mythology. Paul told them that God has created the whole universe, every kind of people from one man. These Athenians believed that they have sprung up from the soil. Not like the rest of the world. They sprung up from the soil, and Paul said that's false and lie. God created the Athenians as he has created everybody else from one Adam and from one Noah. We have common lineage. And they believed that the city of Athens fell from heaven. And Paul, shredded that theory. They believed that God could be served and God could be fed and God could be taken care of. Paul said that he created everything. How can you serve him? The one who created the sun, you going to lit a 5-paisa candle before him and please him? Does it make any sense? I think who said it? I think Francis Schaeffer said it. Man, he is like a man who is lighting a candle and in the midday 12 o'clock going around saying, where is the sun? Where is the sun? I don't see the sun. You can search to find the sun with a candle. You are blind. That's the truth. The sun is shining, but man is blind. Paul said that the Lord God is going to judge the world through one man whom he has raised up. That's when they all get, resurrection. Wow, what is it? They couldn't just to take the thought of somebody coming back to life after dying. Yes, their theology didn't go that far. Paul did the same thing everywhere. In 1 Corinthians 15, we read the same thing. Every time he preached a message to the heathen, he started with creation and ended with judgments. Creation, resurrection, judgment. Every time Paul preached a sermon to the Jew, he started with Abraham. With Abraham. And he sometimes will end with millennium. Or the new heaven and the new earth. The common ground we have with the heathen, the Gentile, is not Abraham. It's a creation. And you know how subtle Satan is? Christians should not have this common linkage of creation when they preached the gospel. So Satan went around and said the lie that there is no creation. There is no creation, it's evolution. There is no God. He is very cunning and we are succumbed to his scheming. Paul did not allow believers to compartmentalize life as secular and sacred. To the Christian, everything is spiritual. Athenians worshipped an unknown God whom Paul said, I know him. I will tell about him to you. Yes, at least Athenians were sincere in admitting that they didn't know God. But most of the Hindus and the Muslims and the Jains and the Buddhists, and all the others, they are all saying they know God. They know more about God than us. What a shame, isn't it? Non-Christian worldview are also religious worldviews. Cosmic humanists talk about God and practice their religion. But the problem is inconsistency. The Marxist and the secular humanist may not talk about God per se, but for them their system is God. For a Marxist, the system is God. Nobody can resist their system. His life is over. It's like when the Marxists ruled Russia, there was no complaint. There was a complaint book, but there were no complaints. They stand in queue for a loaf of bread from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the shopkeeper says, the ration man says, bread is finished, come tomorrow. The military man there will ask them, you have any complaint? No sir, no complaints. Complaints come only when there is freedom, right? Where there is the Spirit of God, there is freedom. And Christians are misusing that freedom by making too many complaints. What are our complaints? This is shame. Yes. All systems include a theology. All systems include a theology. It doesn't matter what. Christianity begins with, in the beginning, God. Marxism, Leninism and secular humanism begins with, in the beginning, there is no God. Cosmic humanism says everything is God. Evolutionism says in the beginning there was matter. For the matter is the God. It's an impersonal God, that's all. Everybody. Yes. There is a sad factor we should not ignore. In democracy, it is the majority that decides the issues. But when it comes to the worldview, listen, it is the outspoken minority that controls the worldview of the silent majority. The outspoken minority controls the worldview of the silent majority. We are part of the silent majority. The outspoken minority, they are going around everywhere. They are doing their job excellently well, while the silent majority is taking a back seat. Isn't that shameful? When was the last time you spoke something against the secular worldview? Against Marxism, Leninism, atheism, materialism, hedonism, pluralism, all these isms. They are all haunting you day and night, our children. Everywhere. You are keeping it quiet, right? Our children are educated by Hindus and Muslims, atheists and Marxists. We have no problem giving our children to them for education. Isn't it a shame? The Jewish people never allowed their young people to see a non-Jew until they were adopted as sons of law, daughters of law at the age of 13. Only after that they could go out and meet a heathen. But our children at the age of 6 months, in order to crush them mentally and spiritually, we are taking them and leaving them at the crush. Is that terrible? No concern. No concern. For an additional paycheck, so that they could buy a bigger fridge, a better car, maybe another 1-ton split AC, little more cosmetics, fair and lovely. That's terrible, isn't it? It is. So nobody can ignore it. We're going to pay for it. The Americans are paying it. Now their young people are going to school not with pen and pencil but with guns. The days are coming, it's going to happen here. Because when we forsake the essential for the sake of the non-essential, our children are going to suffer drastically. Yes. What percentage of people are truly evolutionists? Majority all over the world. In India believe in God. Majority believe in God. But look to the education system today. Who decide what to be taught? The creationist or the evolutionist? Is there a chapter on evolution in any of the textbooks? No. The pictures of evolution. The silent majority simply demands that our children are taught evolution without taking a step. We should act. We should act. Richard Bauer said rightly, education could never take place in a moral and philosophical vacuum. It can never. If God and ethics are eliminated from our education system, then atheism, materialism, secular humanism, Marxism, etc. will take control. This is what we see before our very eyes today. Everywhere. These wrong systems have taken control of our education systems. What we Christians have, even in Christian schools, what is taught? Even in Christian schools. I thank God for men like Pinto, he has many schools, whatever you say about him, but he has prayer and Bible reading in every class. Whoever comes to take admission in his school, he tells them, if you don't want Bible to be taught, take your child to some other school. I like him because he takes a stand on that. We should. We should. Big paycheck does not decide whether the quality of a school is good or bad. What you are putting in the young minds of your children. That's what. And you know that at the early age, when you brainwash those children with all these false theories, you cannot wipe them out once they have taken the roots inside their brains. Later people begin to, become sad, my child is gone, he's taking drugs and have friendship with this, bad things, that things, and he doesn't go to church but with friends go to the temple, on this and that, and well, there's no use in bemoaning. You have to nip certain things at the bud stage. If you fail to do that, you will suffer for it. No one could separate the sacred from the secular. How can we separate the soul spirit from the body? It's a deadly experiment. The present moral degeneration among our young people is a result of the attempt to replace the sacred with the secular. What we have today is a secular worldview where matter is eternal. That's true. That's true. A true and consistent worldview must have a source. The Bible is the source of the Christian worldview. So we call it the biblical worldview. Biblical worldview relies upon divine inspiration. We believe that the Bible is the only true special revelation of God to man. And therefore, the biblical worldview is the only true worldview. Nothing else fits into it. Nothing else. I don't know how many of you have read Quran or Bhagavad Gita or Ramayana or Upanishads and some of these Vedas and all that, I don't recommend you read them, but somebody like me have to read because I encounter with people, Hindus and other faiths, and they will, question me, and I cannot plead ignorance about those things, though I have it. But I tell you, they are garbage. They are garbage. Good stories to entertain people who have a special flavor for, immorality or sexual stories and this sort of thing. What else is there? Nothing. Nothing. Only the Bible gives you a moral base and a spiritual base for truth. Divine inspiration explains not only the miraculous coherency of the book, but also the incredible power of the person of Christ. Even atheist historian like W.H. Lecky admits that the character of Jesus has been not only the highest pattern of virtue, but the strongest incentive to its practice, and has exercised so deep an influence that it may be truly said that the simplest record of 3 short years of active life has done more to regenerate and to soften mankind than all the philosophical theories and exhortation. And Lecky was so true. So true. And Lecky is not a Christian, No, he is not. He is atheist. He doesn't even believe in God. But he said the character of Jesus Christ. 3 years, short years, the record of 3 years of his life, they have so much power to soften the heart and the mind of people. You go to Africa, the cannibals of Africa, they were made human beings, sorry to say that, they were made human beings by God, but, degeneration has taken such an ebb upon their life. David Livingstone went there, a great trailblazer. There was no way there. He showed the way. The world recognized him. He had discovered the origin of River Nile from the Victorian waterfalls. Egyptians believed that it is God's river, because they didn't know where the water came, all through here. But National Geography has assigned Livingstone a job, said, you are going for missionary work, could you do us a favor? See where River Nile originates, and he did. He did. He found out. Yes, he glorified God. My point is, Livingstone's life in Africa has changed the nature of Africa. Yes. 5 martyrs, that all of them, yes, who were killed by the Auca Indians. Oh, they changed the course of whole part of, the Amazon River Valley, those cannibals who lived there, people who were just uncivilized people. Today they are Christ-loving people. Eucador, Jim Elliot, and some others. Wonderful. Yes. When Jesus said to that Samaritan woman who apparently was leading an immoral life, just he said one statement, I am he, the Messiah. She immediately ran to her people and said that I have found the one you are all waiting for. He may be the Messiah, come and see. The whole village was turned to Christ. See, Jesus Christ has the power to change people just in minutes and seconds, because He is the truth. He is the epitome of truth. He is the incarnation of truth. He is the embodiment of truth. You could say everything. Jesus is. So when He said, I am the Messiah, actually, not only her whole life was changed, but the life of the whole village was changed. When Christ said, I am the way, the truth and the life, he was unveiling to the whole world a great truth. What is that? The absolute truth has to rest in a person. The absolute truth has to be communicated in an absolute book. Jesus the absolute person and Bible the absolute book. Both are inerrant. Christ is inerrant, the Bible is inerrant. The record about the incarnated Christ we find in the book. Not only historically but prophetically in the Old Testament. Every detail was written through prophets from 1500 years to 400 years before Christ's birth. What an amazing book it is. There are people who laugh at Bible. They say, it's verbally, plenarily, inspired, infallible, inerrant, authoritative and sufficient for all our faith and practice. They say, no. Bible contains God's word, but Bible is not God's word. I get a kick at those people when they say that word. Because if Bible contains the truth, how do you know which part is the truth? If it contains lie also, right? Truth and lie mixed together, you say it contains truth. Who are you to decide which part is truth? No. God says Bible is truth. It is established in heaven. The heavens and the earth will pass away, but not even a little dot from the Bible. Thy word is truth. John 17:17. Thy word is truth. So Jesus Christ, he was a living truth, speaking the truth. So we understand from the Bible. In the beginning God created heavens and earth. In the beginning, that's time. Heaven and earth, that's matter. When heaven and earth in the beginning created what? What is time? Time, what is time? How will you define time? You don't know how you define time? Well, let that be a homework for you.
Where is the time? Where is the time?
Well, what is time? First of all, you have to know what is time. Then you start seeking. If you don't know what is time, even if you stumble across it, you don't know it's time, right? So what is time? Yes, that's a good question. Yes. We understand that God is eternal and the uncaused cause of all effects. Matter, space and time are created and have a beginning. Without this foundation of a monotheistic creator and a created world, our worldview will fall and perish. We need to base our education system upon this theistic foundation. That's what C.S. Lewis is trying to do in his famous book, Mere Christianity. He said, if you do not have this foundation, then Christianity has no meaning. You take out Christ from Christianity, what you are? Jesus said, I am the way. You take out the way, then Christianity is a religion without the way. Jesus Christ said, I am the truth. You take out Christ from Christianity, then Christianity is a religion without the truth. Jesus said, I am the life. You take out Christ from Christianity, then there is a religion without any life. That's what the world wants. Take out Jesus. Take out Jesus. We say, you take the whole world, but give me Jesus. The world say, the other way. Yes, Christianity is not a religion for the intellectually elite only. It is for everybody. The essence of Christianity is not philosophical formula, but personal relationship with Jesus Christ. You know that Christianity is not a bunch of formulas. No. It's not a bunch of formulas. Christianity is a relationship with the Creator. That Creator incarnated in flesh so that you and I could communicate with Him. As God, He knows everything of man's experiences, as God, because He is all-knowing. But there is a difference in knowing it intellectually because He is all-knowing and coming and knowing it experience.